In the chaos of modernity, I lost my way, chasing illusions in the light of day. But in the whispers of the wind, I hear a call.
Welcome to this episode of A Sacred African Reawakening. In this captivating video, we take you into the mind of Anyamin, a young African woman, and her deconstruction of the Christian faith as she reconverts to her traditional African spirituality. We delve into her examination of the fascinating and often overlooked history of the suppression of minority spiritualities, drawing inspiration from biblical narratives. Her exegesis reveals how dominant religious and political powers have sought to silence and marginalize alternative belief systems throughout history. It is a story of resilience, resistance, and the preservation of these rich cultural traditions in the face of adversity. Join us on a journey of discovery as we shed light on this important, yet often neglected, aspect of our shared human experience. A Sacred African Reawakening. Episode 2, Ancestral Reclamation. Anyamin's entrance into the compound was marked by a palpable heaviness, her usually poised demeanor now overshadowed by a profound sense of introspection. With her head bowed, she walked across the courtyard as if in a trance, her destination clear, her own room. Her father lay in a reclining chair on the veranda as if he did not notice her entrance into the compound. But the weight of unspoken words hung in the air, enveloping her in a shroud of silence that she seemed unwilling to break. She did not greet her father. She smelled the compound's sweet aroma, a blend of wet dirt and the perfume of coffee flowers from the backyard, which contrasted with her inner chaos. Anyamin expected her father to summon and scold her for daring to bring a pastor to demand that he hand over his ancestral heirloom to be burnt. Unexpectedly, her father's summons did not materialize, a deviation from his normal behavior. It was normal for her father to call a family meeting after a child had done something egregious. Her stepmother, the woman Anyamin called mother, who had raised her since her biological mother passed away, secretly sent Anyamin's younger brother to bring food to her room. She resorted to this clandestine act because she feared how her husband would react if he caught her feeding her daughter. The soft shuffle of her brother's footsteps and the clinking of the utensils punctuated the stillness of her room. Wordlessly, she took the food from her brother, despite her lack of appetite. Anyamin accepted the food because she thought that her refusing the food might cause her mother to come to her room. She was not in a mood for the next round of her moralizing talk. Anyamin's mother understood her challenges with finding a job and a partner, but she had always attempted to moderate her daughter's fervor for Pentecostalism. The aroma of the food wafted through the room, a tantalizing blend of spices and warmth, but it was a distant sensation, overshadowed by the weight of her thoughts. Undergoing a profound transformation, she redirected her entire focus towards understanding the complexities of Christianity. This was a stark contrast to her previous stance of passionately defending the faith only hours ago. Now, her ancestral beliefs and teachings clashed fiercely with the Christian doctrines that had once dominated her thoughts. The battle for supremacy in her mind intensified as she delved deeper into unraveling the layers of both traditions. By 9 o'clock that evening, an eerie silence fell over the compound as everyone sought the comfort of their bed sheets. Anyamin was left alone with the chirping insects outside as she picked through the fabric of the faith she was now leaving behind. When she finally slipped into her sheets, she was so exhausted that she fell into a deep sleep. Anyamin's sleep was unexpectedly serene. Though punctuated by occasional episodes of enigmatic, meaningless dreams, there were no nightmares. Towards dawn, though, she had a dream that forced her to wake up and ponder over its meaning. She could not decipher the dream, but it pointed her to the possibility of the resurgence of her dormant gift for lucid dreaming. This was a gift that she had chiseled to perfection after she was inducted as her grandmother's successor. She had lost it after embracing Pentecostalism in high school. Unable to decipher the dream, Anyamin blanked out her mind, hoping to go back to sleep. But she could not sleep, though she wasn't restless. Then, in a flash of insight, the dream suddenly became clear. Feverishly, she extended her hand and retrieved her 10-year-old Bible from the side stool. She turned the pages with purpose, and soon had her eyes scheming through the 28th chapter of the first book of Samuel. She settled on the encounter between King Saul and the medium of Endor. Something deep within her was urging her to read it. Her immersion in the ancient text brought forth a profound resonance, igniting a storm of contemplation within her mind. The words seemed to carry a weightier meaning now, evoking a cascade of thoughts and emotions. Amidst this inner turmoil, echoes of her pastor's admonition reverberated, cautioning against delving too deeply into ancestral practices. Don't be a Saul at Endor, the living have no business consulting the dead. As the pastor's familiar sermon echoed through the walls of her mind, Anyamin found herself drifting away from its usual grip. His words, once a guiding force, now seemed hollow, lacking the resonance they once held. It was as though a veil had lifted from her eyes, revealing a new perspective she had never considered before. In that moment, stared at the open page before her. She was shaken by the streams of insight flooding her mind. She had previously accepted the dominant interpretation of Saul's campaign against mediums and magicians as a cautionary lesson against engaging with African spirituality. However, this early morning was different. A subtle shift occurred within her, prompting her to re-examine the story through the lens of power relations. For the first time, Anyamin viewed the passage not as a condemnation of her ancestral beliefs, but as a reflection of unequal power dynamics. The expulsion of mediums and magicians by Saul mirrored the suppression of alternative voices and traditions, much like the dominance of Christianity over African spirituality in contemporary times. As she delved deeper into the text, a sense of empowerment surged within her. This wasn't about rebellion or defiance, but about reclaiming agency over her spiritual journey. Her face beaming with newfound clarity, she reached for a highlighter, the vibrant hue lending emphasis to the words that had sparked a revelation within her. But the woman said to him, "Look, you are aware of what Saul has done. He has removed the mediums and magicians from the land. Why are you trapping me so you can put me to death?" In that quiet moment of introspection, Anyamin embraced her epiphany, a realization that transcended mere skepticism and ventured into a realm of self-discovery and understanding. It was a moment of liberation, where the boundaries between past indoctrination and personal truth blurred, allowing her to navigate her beliefs with authenticity and integrity. Anyamin was captivated by the unbroken history of silencing and erasure of minority voices running through the entire Bible. In a profound moment of clarity, she discerned the parallels between Saul's persecution of mediums in Canaan and the calculated suppression of indigenous spiritualities in Africa by the Christian Church. The echoes of history reverberated across time and space, bridging the chasm between Saul's reign and the present day. The deliberate eradication of diverse spiritual expressions, a nefarious echo of Saul's conquest, now manifested in the missionary zeal of Christian churches across Africa. Christianity today was not any more different from Saul in their campaign against alternative spiritualities. This duality sparked a profound questioning within her. The stark contrast between the church's stark depictions of heaven and hell and the more nuanced, sometimes contradictory narratives found in the scriptures began to unravel the tightly knit tapestry of her spiritual beliefs. It was not just a biblical or historical issue. It was a continuous thread that had woven itself through the fabric of time, manifesting even in the missionary zeal that swept across continents, including her own Africa. In this moment of epiphany, Anyamin felt a surge of defiance. It dawned on her that the imposition of a monolithic identity eclipsed the variegation of individual experiences and cultural expressions, leaving a profound sense of dislocation and loss within indigenous communities. In the service of our spirituality, rich with the traditions of our forebears, I will no longer bow to the prescriptive narratives that had long sought to confine my identity expression. If the spirits of the Hebrew past could speak so powerfully through these ancient texts, then surely the spirits of my ancestors, through the rites and rituals we perform, hold wisdom that deserves to be heard. That was Anyamin's resolve, her first resolution after hearing her ancestors' voices once more after spending close to a decade running away from them.
Back to my roots where the stars align, where ancient wisdom teaches divine.
The first rays of dawn were struggling to rise above the eastern horizon when Anyamin, spurred by an inexplicable urgency, jumped out of bed and hastened to her grandmother's grave. Standing by her grandmother's resting place, old memories came rushing back to Anyamin. Overcome with emotions, she started addressing her grandmother. "My Ondi, this is Anyamin. Hear my voice, hear my plea. For I have returned, to wander away no more. I sought solace in distant lands, entwined in foreign faiths. Yet the peace I yearned for remained a fleeting shadow. I ran away from you, falsely blaming your presence for my trials. But now, with unveiled eyes, I see the folly of my misguided flight. This morning, I stand before you, as the successor you appointed, alone in my entreaty, a solitary seeker yearning for your grace. You spoke ancient truths, whispered secrets that now stir within my soul. You vowed to heed my voice in the thrill of jubilation and in the clutches of adversity. Today I stand not on behalf of others, but as a solitary repentant child, coming to renew the bond of the mantle that you bestowed upon me. Ondi, I am here, I am home, no longer adrift in aimless wanderings. Guide my steps as I tread this sacred earth that bore your feet. In the gentle rustle of the wind, in the murmurs of the ancestral whispers, reveal to me the way, the ancient wisdom that courses through my veins. Empower me to honor the legacy you have woven, to stand unwavering in the embrace of our traditions. With each breath, with each murmured entreaty, I beseech thee, lend me your timeless guidance as I embark on this journey of reclamation. Let your spirit intertwine with mine as we chart the course ahead. For I am here, dear Ondi, to wander away no more. Show me the path. Illuminate my walk. Guide my way. As Anyamin concluded her impassioned prayer to her grandmother, she turned around and found her father and the entire family silently watching her in confused awe. Instant tears gushed out of her eyes and streamed freely down her cheeks. As Anyamin's tears flowed freely, her father's heart swelled with a tumultuous mix of emotions. Sensing her anguish, he stepped forward, his eyes reflecting a deep well of concern and aching remorse. As he enfolded her in his embrace, he felt the weight of missed opportunities and the profound longing to make amends. He gently and lovingly parted her on the back to calm her down. "What happened? Why this sudden change?" he inquired gently, his voice laced with a blend of paternal concern and genuine curiosity as Anyamin's sobs began to subside. He listened intently, his gaze unwavering, as she recounted her emotional turmoil and the transformative encounter with the old Nkemdem that had led her back to her roots. In his eyes, a kaleidoscope of emotions flickered. Gratitude for her return, remorse for not understanding her anguish, and a deep wellspring of paternal love. As Anyamin's narrative unfolded, her father's features softened with a profound sense of gratitude. He recognized the gravity of her journey and the depth of her longing for connection to her ancestral heritage. A wave of remorse washed over him as he realized the pain she had endured, the pain he had unwittingly contributed to. "Our ancestors were with you," he affirmed solemnly, his voice carrying the weight of generations of traditions and beliefs. His gratitude for Nkemdem's intervention mingled with a deep sense of responsibility to guide his daughter back to her rightful place within their familial and cultural legacy. The family convened at the grandmother's grave. As her father prayed, his words were weighted with reverence and a fervent plea for restoration. He prayed for the ancestors to take pity on Anyamin and restore her to her rightful status as the earthly representative of her grandmother. His words resonated with an earnest desire for reconciliation and healing. The patriarch then led his family to the ancestral shrine that held the skulls of forebears of the family. At the ancestral shrine, Anyamin's father's prayer for forgiveness and acceptance was infused with a profound sense of humility and reverence. His fervent entreaty for the ancestors to intercede on Anyamin's behalf, opening the way for her future endeavors, echoed through the sacred space, carrying with it the weight of a father's hopes and dreams for his daughter. It was then that Anyamin realized that her father had always been worried about her joblessness and lack of opportunities. The passion in his voice as he prayed for open doors for her and her siblings in this man-no-man country of theirs moved Anyamin to tears. She wished she could take back the words that she had said to her father that he did not care about their well-being. He cared, only that her preferred solution was not his preferred solution. Father and daughter had almost become estranged due to the interference of a foreign religion. As they left the ancestral shrine, one of Anyamin's stepmothers intoned a sacred song, a fitting invocation to enhance the sacredness of the moment, a fitting celebration of friendship and harmony, which has always been a cherished cultural tenet of the Nue people. The song was a further invitation to the ancestors, and a tacit acknowledgement of the unity and affirmation sought from their ancestors. In the quiet aftermath of the ritual, as the morning sun rose and bathed the landscape in its golden glow, Anyamin's father looked upon her with a profound sense of understanding and pride. His eyes, a reflection of the ancestral wisdom and paternal love, conveyed a silent assurance that she had regained her place within the intricate tapestry of their heritage.
Of modernity, I lost my way, chasing illusions in the light of day. But in the whispers of the wind I hear a call to return to my roots, stand tall.